The highly anticipated fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul is now just weeks away, scheduled for November 15. Originally set for July, the bout had to be postponed due to Tyson's health concerns, but now both fighters are back in training and looking sharper than ever. They have each been posting sparring footage on their social media, fueling discussions on who will emerge victorious in what has become one of the most debated fights of the year. While many believe Tyson is the obvious favorite, the reality may not be as straightforward as it seems. Recently, Jake Paul shared footage of himself dropping a sparring partner with a well-placed overhand right. While the clip was impressive, it is important to note that his opponent had a completely different fighting style than Mike Tyson. This opponent was much taller, seemingly around 6'2" or even taller, compared to Tyson, who is much shorter and fights in a completely different manner. Paul, listed at around 6'1", was seen moving to his left in the footage, which isn't ideal since it places him in line with his opponent's power hand. However, due to the positioning, he had little choice but to continue circling that way. He was caught with a jab but managed to roll away from a follow-up right hand by creating an angle with his left shoulder. Worst case scenario, the punch may have grazed him, but his movement ensured he avoided taking significant damage. Paul anticipated his opponent's next move, recognizing that he would attempt to throw another shot. As soon as the taller fighter started loading his right hand, Paul ducked down and unleashed a perfectly placed overhand right, dropping his sparring partner. While this was an excellent display of timing and accuracy, it is essential to remember that sparring footage only tells part of the story. Fighters typically showcase their best moments on social media, giving the impression that they are performing flawlessly. Even so, Paul looked sharp in this session. Considering his training over the past 4 years, it is reasonable to assume that Jake Paul is in the best shape of his career. He has faced a variety of opponents, including retired MMA fighters and former boxing champions, and while none of them were in their prime, they still provided him with valuable experience. With all the financial resources at his disposal, he has been able to invest in the best trainers, equipment, and sparring partners to refine his skills. Given that he is preparing to face one of the most feared boxers in history, it is expected that he is training harder than ever before. Despite Paul's improvements, many fans and analysts remain skeptical of his chances against Tyson. Comments on his social media posts, as well as general discussions within the boxing community, still overwhelmingly favor Tyson. The belief is that Tyson's experience, power, and aggressive style will prove too much for Paul to handle. Even though Paul has demonstrated improvements in footwork and timing, the challenge of facing Tyson is unlike anything he has encountered before. Following Paul's sparring footage, fans urged Tyson to release his own training clips, and he did not disappoint. The legendary heavyweight shared footage of himself delivering a powerful left hook in training, knocking down his sparring partner. His coach praised the performance, but Tyson remained unsatisfied, insisting that he had more to give. This exchange highlighted his relentless competitive nature, showing that despite his age, he still possesses the mindset of a warrior. Tyson's peekaboo style, which he perfected under the guidance of his late trainer Cus D'Amato, remains difficult to predict. His ability to remain tight in his stance while delivering explosive punches from multiple angles is what made him so dangerous in his prime. Even now, he maintains this ability to some extent. He can shift his weight quickly, throw short hooks, and deliver devastating uppercuts from close range. His ability to mix up his shots makes it incredibly difficult for opponents to anticipate what is coming next. While Tyson's style remains effective, there are questions about whether he can sustain his intensity over multiple rounds. His power is undeniable, and his ability to slip punches and close the distance remains formidable. However, the challenge for him will be whether he can maintain the explosiveness needed to pressure Paul effectively. Given his age, it is uncertain how well his stamina will hold up. If the fight goes beyond a few rounds, Paul may have an advantage simply due to his youth and conditioning. On the other hand, Jake Paul believes that Tyson will struggle to get on the inside. Paul has been focusing on footwork, particularly in his most recent fights, and has improved in creating distance and countering opponents as they try to move in. His performance against Nate Diaz, although against an MMA fighter, showed his ability to control the range effectively. If he can keep Tyson at a distance, he may be able to capitalize on his reach advantage and prevent Tyson from landing his signature inside shots. One of the biggest talking points surrounding this fight is whether there will be a knockout. Both fighters have confirmed that knockouts are allowed, which means there is a possibility that the fight could end in a dramatic stoppage. However, skepticism remains about whether the fight will be a full contact war or more of a controlled exhibition. Some speculate that there may be an unspoken agreement between both camps to keep the fight from becoming too dangerous. Despite these concerns, the footage from both fighters suggests that they are taking this matchup seriously. Tyson, in particular, looks as fierce as ever in his training clips. In a recent training session, he was seen delivering powerful right hands and asking his coach if he was sure he had done enough, indicating his hunger to push himself further. His determination is clear, and he seems intent on proving that he still has the ability to dominate inside the ring. Paul, meanwhile, has continued refining his skills, working on his conditioning, and improving his ability to move and counter effectively. His power has also developed significantly, making him a legitimate threat. If he can manage to stay on the outside and land counters when Tyson attempts to close the distance, he may have a chance of pulling off an upset. Ultimately, this fight is shaping up to be one of the most talked about events in recent boxing history. While Tyson remains the favorite, Paul's improvements make this matchup far more intriguing than many initially expected. Whether it ends in a knockout or goes the distance, this battle between generations will be one of the most fascinating spectacles in combat sports this year.